Did you know that small changes in your running technique can make you run faster and drastically reduce the risk of injuries? Stay until the end of this video and I'll share all the secrets to improve your running. In my clinical practice as a physiotherapist, I have helped many athletes improve their running technique, which has had countless benefits in reducing injuries. In many sports, refining your technique is crucial. In gymnastics, golf, or tennis, the best athletes not only follow the technical advice of their coaches, but also closely observe and imitate the movements of more experienced athletes. But what about activities that we naturally learn, like running? Should we analyze our gait or listen to expert advice on foot strike, step cadence, or posture? Recently, runners have started to wonder if changing their running biomechanics could reduce the risk of injury and improve performance. The traditional approach ignores technique, assuming that running improves with sufficient mileage, various workouts, and perhaps some plyometrics. Today, athletes can find many tips on how to run correctly. These methods offer some benefits beyond the simple advice of just run. Although corrective running methods are popular, they are not backed by high-quality scientific evidence. Some movements are learned naturally. Children, for example, learn to walk, run, bend, and climb very well without instruction. This is not the case for more complex skills like a backflip, a slam dunk, or playing the piano. We are born to run, not to shoot three-pointers off the dribble. Adults are not as plastic as children, but over time and with enough variability in running, they will learn to run better even without thinking about it. The human body has a great priority in conserving energy and preventing injuries, so it continues to unconsciously work on more efficient and safer running, even when your mind is elsewhere. Can this process be accelerated by consciously applying some technical advice, like telling runners to shorten their stride, increase their cadence, and avoid heel striking? Although high-level athletes can break these rules, it is said that one can improve by adhering to the textbook technique. A primary reason to be skeptical about one-size-fits-all advice is that everyone has a different physical structure. Therefore, it is reasonable to expect that people should run in various ways to optimize their performance and safety. For example, Usain Bolt learned to run with an asymmetrical stride, slightly galloping to favor one foot over the other. Experts believe this technique is a clever, unintended compensation for minor asymmetries in his structure. Correcting runners to imitate a textbook model would only make them slower. The lesson is that the body finds ingenious solutions to locomotor problems with an innate bottom-up mechanism, so the claim to improve technique with top-down corrections should be reconsidered. Research supports this viewpoint, showing that people can successfully choose a running style that suits them. Before continuing, if you are enjoying the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more useful content like this. Now let's talk about running technique. Although heel striking is often mocked, it is not associated with a higher risk of injury, and is the most energy-efficient running style for most people. This is why the majority of runners, including about 75% of elite half-marathoners, land on their heels. Trying to correct running style is unlikely to reduce injury risk and often makes runners slower and less efficient. Several studies have shown that changing one's natural stride length requires more oxygen to run at the same intensity. For example, 16 triathletes were asked to follow the instructions of a pose method expert, who recommended landing on the forefoot rather than the heel. After 12 weeks, forefoot striking proved less efficient. Focusing on running style without committing to changing it results in decreased efficiency. This follows a general law of motor control. Paying attention to your body tends to create rigidity and awkward movements, often called paralysis by analysis. But when you stay focused on the movement's end goal, the body can self-regulate more easily. Most of the intelligence coordinating movement is unconscious, especially for fundamental movements like locomotion. What about pronation? Pronation of the foot is the inward rotation with a consequent greater support of the external forefoot. For a long time, it was debated whether excessive pronation was harmful and could contribute to overload injuries in the foot, knee, and even the back. After decades of studies, it seems that overpronation is not significantly correlated with injury risk, and even if it were, correcting foot mechanics to reduce injury risk is debatable. If the tendency to pronate is caused by the bone structure of the foot or ankle, then it's a non-modifiable factor. And if pronation could be altered with orthotics? Using orthotics does reduce injury risk, but it does not seem to matter whether they are custom-made or off-the-shelf. One could buy shoes designed to reduce pronation, but the literature indicates that shoes do not always have the biomechanical effects they are designed for. Cushioned shoes do not reduce the impact force applied to the ground, because the body seems to desire a certain amount of feedback, so it will seek to get it despite the cushioning. According to Benno Nig, an expert on the relationship between running, shoes, gait, and injuries, this happens because the foot has a preferred movement path. So when runners use different shoes, they tend to maintain their preferred movement strategy. Following this logic, the best shoes for injury prevention are those that facilitate the preferred strategy. This is achieved by choosing the most comfortable shoes for the athlete. In one of NIG's studies, runners who were allowed to choose insoles based on their comfort experience showed a lower injury rate compared to the control group. Based on this study and more than 40 years of experience on these complex topics, NIG's advice is simple. Try 4 or 5 pairs of shoes, take a jog around the store, and pick the most comfortable one. There's a common thread in this research. The body has a great intuition for running safely and efficiently. It learns through trial and error. And the best way to learn faster is to have many trials and errors with high training volume and sufficient variability. This means ignoring all the biomechanical running tips? I don't think so. Why not use them as inspiration to expose your body to new running experiments? You can try applying a new technique for 5 minutes, then forget about it and go back to running naturally. If there's something useful in this new technique, it might give a feeling that is unconsciously learned in the following miles. For example, running with a mid-foot strike or a higher cadence is not something to necessarily try, but is a reasonable option. This is even more true if you suffer from knee pain, as forefoot striking tends to reduce mechanical stress on the joint. On the other hand, it increases stress on the Achilles tendon and foot. So there's no one technique better than another. In essence, there are various ways to run, each with its own pros and cons. Experimenting with different techniques, changing terrain, speed, intensity, shoes, etc., increases your chances of finding your own style. As you improve, your kinematics will start to look textbook. But these changes will evolve more naturally and authentically, becoming more stable and sustainable rather than consciously trying to run with good technique. If you found the video useful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more interesting videos like this. Let me know in the comments what topic you want me to cover in the next video. See you soon on the channel.